All right. Shalom and welcome all. Welcome to Q2UA Special Report. Today we're going to talk about the Western Rumble. Western Rumble. Thank you all for showing up this Monday morning. A little bit on the the cooler side where I'm at. It is showing that really spring is right around the corner. And with spring being right around the corner, that is actually our new year for those that ascribe to the Hebrew faith. Sometime around mid March, it can be done either via moon cycle, the equinox, however you want to call it. That's why I say it's the new year season. And I say that because, you were not going to get the exact. Everybody wants to be a scholar and have the exacts. Hey, listen, as long as you understand it's in March, that's good enough for me. As long as you realize that after that, we have Passover in a few weeks, that's good enough for me. I see our folks, they always try to be very, very legislative and and judicial with things. And it's like, so you knew exactly how and what was preserved from our culture? No, it was all lost. It's all in captivity. And for those that still have it over on the continent, guess what? Do you think they're going to share that with you? No. The question would be, why would they want to share that with you? So you could do what? Up and tell the people that are holding you captive how to continue to destroy us? It makes no sense. But I know that's how our people are. They, the strategic thinking and the strategic analysis with most of our people, I'm going to say with most of our people, it's not there. And the reason that it's not there is simply because I see it every single day in the education system. They did not want us to have it. They did not want us to be able to critically think. They did not want us to be able to analyze. This is where we're at right now. And that lack of critical thinking, that lack of analysis, that lack of understanding. And honestly, if you didn't grow up in a Eurocentric church, I wouldn't even say Eurocentric. I would say this: if you didn't grow up in a Holy Spirit filled, Ruach filled church, see, understand we worship an error. We weren't all the way wrong, but we weren't all the way right either. But I say I thank the Most High that I at least had been on the right track. Because if I understood who I was just right off the street, that would have been bad. Because I understood why the Most High, why He led me in the direction that He led me. And I'm driving this morning as the Most High literally allowed me to get Starbucks. I said, "Thank you, Father, that I can get Starbucks this morning." And I did that because I may have a drive to get my son his car, his vehicle, depending on some things. That's just a sacrifice. Because also today is my younger son's birthday. And These last couple of years, I haven't been in a position to do anything, just nice for the kids. Not how I was a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, I was getting paid on the 1st and the 15th. A couple of years ago, I was getting paid bi-weekly. A couple of years ago, I could forecast pay. And right now, it's all different. And, it's not even the extent of I had lived, it wasn't even check to check. It was, alms to alms. It was digital alms. And that really broke my pride. Father, I am here living off of, just donations for what we think that we're doing the right things because we have learned. That was me. I learned what the system wanted me to learn. How I was to talk, how I was to react, how I was to move, right? What was success? What does success look like? And over the course of these couple of years, I had to truly understand success does not look like what they define success and how they define success. Because I can tell you that their idea of success is a trap. The idea of wealth and materialism is a trap. It's a Western trap, it's a Western construct. Go to school, do this, do that, because when you go to school, you have all this. Now, if I was all in for the money, if I was all in for mammon, then there are certain places around the world that I would be in right now, and it wouldn't be in the African continent. There are certain places in the Middle East that I would be in right now. And I can tell you this, everyone around the world is struggling. Everyone around the world is struggling. But I have to say this, I'm glad that at least I'm struggling here amongst my people because I realized the struggle wasn't to have us just down and out. The struggle is actually having us rethink and recalibrate our thinking of the measures of success because to be able to survive this and what's getting ready to happen, you have to have a network, you have to have relationships, you have to have groups, you have to have some sort of a creed and focus. Yes, we have the word that is our foundation, but there's a little bit more to that in order for us to work through the situation and work through the circumstance because we all have to work through this situation and this circumstance of our final moments of captivity. That's how that goes. I think it's funny because when Moses showed up to Egypt and had called together all the elders, folks weren't up in pace. And that wasn't the case right now. It's not. But what ended up happening was that as the Most High was readying his people to leave, conditions in their reality changed. Conditions on the ground changed. They went from, you know what, I still have to make money in this pharaonic system, to, you know what, forget this. We're ready to go. Tell us what needs to happen. Tell us how this thing happens. And, a lot of our people are still hard headed. So back in that time, you understand, a lot of our people had died holding on to the dream of staying in Egypt. And let's just face the reality, a lot of our people still have that. That's why the Most High said it will be a remnant. We even have our people that have literally said, I'm going to hide in the mountains. Okay, you hide in the mountains, and what are you going to do when they're looking for you? When you're a bounty? You can hide all you want. Make sure you have those Kevlar bags and Mylar bags to try to reduce your infrared signature, because yeah, that melanin burns a little bit hotter and a little bit brighter on the radar. Sorry to let the cat out the bag on that secret. Oh, we found ourselves a group of black folks. Cha-ching. But before we get to that time, because that time is coming, we have to understand the reality of today's plight, the conditions that are on the ground. Because nobody would have ever suspected this over 2 years ago, that we would be where we're at right now with this. Macron, France and Britain propose 1 month truce in Ukraine. France and Britain are to propose a 1 month truce in Ukraine, in the air, at sea. Emmanuel Macron has said, following talks and Sunday in London on Sunday, European soldiers would only be deployed on the ground in the second phase of a potential peace deal, the French president told Le Figaro. He also suggested that European countries should raise their defense spending to between 3 to 3.5% of GDP to respond to Donald Trump's demands. Mr. Macron told the newspaper there will be no European troops on Ukrainian soil in the coming weeks. The question is how we use this time to try to obtain an accessible truce, with negotiations that will take several weeks, and then once peace is signed, a deployment. Look, all this stuff is a lie. All this stuff is a lie. Let me blow this up for you so you can all see this. He added, we want peace. We don't want it at any price without guarantees. It's all a lie. They want peace now because you want to know why? Trump let the dirty secrets of Ukraine out the bag. They're losing. And they didn't care that they were losing. All they cared about was they wanted to fight Russia at all cost. Because why? It's not that they were just crazy or filled with bloodlust. Yeah, that's part of it. but they understand that their existential threat is not Russia. Russia is just on the eastern horizon doing a land grab. Let's just face it, a land grab for ancestral territories. That was the whole rant that Putin gave a couple of years ago to Tucker Carlson. We just want our land back. Kiev Rus is part of our land structure, and he cited it all the way from Alexander to Victoria to other Russian monarchs, czars, and other things of the legal structures that have been signed with Europe. So, do you understand? Now you want another peace deal when they're losing? Trump had literally spilled the beans on them. They're losing. And now they want another peace deal because they're losing. It's a lie. It's all a lie. And now the rest of the world can see it's a lie. Of course, Russia is going to say, okay, let's talk and let's do this. Our doors are always open. But Russia and China know it's a lie. This is not how things were 10, 15, 20 years ago. Everybody knows the game. So the question is going to be how the response is going to look like in the next couple of weeks. Because to me, when they say peace, sudden destruction, shout out to Brother Yakoba, peace, and sudden destruction. There you go. No, they do not want peace. No, they cannot have peace. Because why? Because what that peace will simply entail is that there is a then guarantee that will be brought up for the African continent. Do you see how this thing goes? Because you know Russia will come through and Russia will say that they are a protectorate for Africa, that Europe will stay out of Africa. Do y'all understand why things are being built? Why things are being, there's more cohesion and cohesiveness going on in Africa than any other time in recent history? Well, that's because European forces have literally been neutralized. Do you see that there's no, or there's less political issues? Yeah, Traore is still facing assassination attempts. That's to be expected. But other countries are starting to get on the same page because they're starting to read the same memo. They are only proposing peace talks because Europe is losing. They're only proposing peace talks because Trump literally let out the dirty word that this thing is over. Why invest more capital, more manpower, more time, more of their quote unquote national treasure, which they're now negative 40 billion in debt of, or trillion in debt of, to a cause that is dying? We need the US. We can't do it without the US. You see that? They just want to drag the US into it. In less than 48 hours. That's what it was. In less than 48 hours, now they want to call for peace talks. Get out of here. All I know is these Western nations dug themselves a grave. And that was all because we started to wake up and we started to declare who we were. And we started to say, you know what? Thank you, Father. We need to get to other places and spaces. We need to work on some things. We need to reach on out and have this prophecy in motion. We need to get over our pride and talk to our brothers and sisters on the continent. And we need to pray for our brothers and sisters on the continent that they get over their fears, that they come together with us. See, the thing is that the enemy literally has been defeated. But we have been so scared that we don't even understand how to operate as they have been defeated. And you can tell they've been defeated because look how they operate. Well, I need to do this. Well, I need to do that. Well, we need to have peace. We need to have peace. Temporary ceasefire. Why? Why would you want to have a temporary ceasefire when them Ukrainians are getting mopped up? You're not going to call timeout in the middle of the fight. Russia knows how they work. If Russia calls timeout or lets them have timeout, then you know it's a collusion. Then you know what they're going to do. They're setting them up, and the whole world is being set up. To me, to me, that's when it's okay, Father. Thank you. I'm expecting you to open some doors now. Thank you, Father. We're expecting you to open some doors now. You have us right here where you need us. We're expecting those doors to be open now. Because why? Because we know what's coming. We understand what's happening next. And we all understand what's getting ready to happen next when the okey doke is going to be on these shores. Because why? Because that's what this place was set up for the spigot to keep running. And when the spigot runs dry, then what good is the spigot? It's not good anymore. It's not an asset anymore. It's not a value anymore. And if something doesn't become an asset, it becomes now what? A liability. That's accounting 101. That's what's being said without it being said. That's what's going on without it being told. The whole point of this country was just to have us here as a generational open air, well, multi generational open air prison by order of Nicholas V in the Dumb Diversus of 1453. That was it. until the Pope said so, until the church said so, until Babylon said so. And now Babylon is being broken. So guess what? A lot of things are going to have to be reversed because why? Because Babylon is going to get ready to starve. And Babylon's about to get destroyed because why? Because there's a new system in place with this beast system, right? Until you say so is basically until they die, until a system dies, until a system gets buried, until a system gets destroyed. They've already signed on to the new system. Guess who hasn't signed on to the new system? Yep, you're sitting in a country that is not signing on to this new system. They were trying to have a bloodless coup, but now this place is getting exactly what it's asking for. And I believe that now, in these next coming weeks, read what's being said in between the lines. When they say peace and safety, man, sudden destruction. It's gonna come. It's happening, and it's happening between two of the unlikeliest parties, the ones that had been in a NATO peace deal. This is how it is. Look, you don't know how Europe gets down? Europe gets down of self preservation. Look, I'm not going to starve or get cut off because of you. I'm not dying because of you. And now you have it here with Macron, Zelensky, and Kier. This is Europe forming up. The picture says it all, family. Don't placate to the United States, but understand what's literally happening right now. EU's turning its back on the US as we speak. And now, when you're looking at things, and you could see that this was Europe going on, and their understanding. I want to share this. This was less than 2 weeks ago. EU made simple. Volt Europa creates petition for European army as the pound US turns its back on Europe. Pro EU party Volt Europe Volt Europa has launched a petition demanding the creation of a European army. In our last poll in Twitter, 92% of our audience voted. They know what time it is. They see what's happening. Canada's on board. You have folks that they're reading the lines. Says, yeah, Art, I think he needs to read the foreign press. The USA is now officially a bully that cannot be trusted, according to the EU. Well, you get a little bit of sentiment, right? You get a chance to get your to we get a chance to see in real time what is happening, how things are happening. We're seeing this in real time. I really never thought that we would actually see this here going on, but it's happening. Someone said here, the U.S. turning against the EU isn't really good news. If Europe is convinced that the U.S. isn't a reliable ally, it will lead to major militarization and a rise in nationalistic right wing sentiments that's going to be bad, he said, for us. Said advised by Mike Waltz and the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives are definitely not serious people. The EU should turn its back to the U.S. and take care of the security of its continent. Do you understand what's happening in real time? Do we see what's happening in real time? Understand that after World War II, the U.S. literally subdued Europe via the Marshall Plan. And they thought that that was all fine and dandy until, plain and simple, the U.S. started running out of money. Our GDP in the United States, the Atlanta Fed was sounding the alarm. Our GDP is going to be negative GDP, negative 1.5%. That's as of a couple of days ago. Do you all know what negative GDP means? The U.S. is losing so much money that it can't produce anything. That means everybody is going broke and they're getting broker because the U.S. is not doing business. I don't know about you all, family, but having that relationship with our brothers and sisters on the continent sounds really good right about now. I thank the Most High that He literally put us in the driver's seat because for the folks that needed to leave, they should have left to go to Europe 6, 7 months ago. Those that didn't, everybody here in the United States, if they are of European ancestry, they're stuck. Unless they go to the continent and unless they go to Africa. I mean, a lot of our folks on the continent, our brothers and sisters on the continent, still haven't gotten the memo. So keep them in prayer. But those doors are beginning to shut for the folks of European ancestry. they're beginning to shut. And as I had stated on this channel and Covenant Awakenings a while ago, just as the doors are shutting for this place, the doors are getting ready to open for Africa. I truly do believe it. Y'all thought I was playing $50,000 for a Tanzanian T shilling. Because you never know. Imagine if they peg that to the dollar or to gold. Because they're going to have to peg it to gold. Imagine when they peg that to gold. Do you understand? That's the setup. They want to peg this to gold. That's the setup. But they don't want to tell people that when they peg it to gold, guess what that does? That then allows everybody else to peg their currency to gold. So, what do you think happens if you're holding foreign assets, especially in cash denominations? That is gold. That is more value. Right now, the T shilling, they try to peg it to about 1 to 23 to 20, between 23 to $2,500 or 23 2,500 T shillings for a dollar. Imagine that type of parity. The US would face literally economic collapse. You would not be able to travel. You would not be able to travel. You can't travel to the continent. Because why? Because your dollar would not be, your dollar would not be worth that price. Their dollar would collapse. This is what is happening. Economic collapse. And here we are in this time. Here we are in this season, and they think that it's a great idea to leverage all that gold in Fort Knox. Problem is, do we even know if there's any gold there? Well, there is supposed to be gold. There should be gold, and we're recalling what we need to have. I'm just saying, family. I can see through all the ploys that they're trying to do. I mean, it's a good plan for the United States. I'm not knocking it. It really is a good plan. If you don't have money to support the countries that had been your vassal states since World War II, then it's going to be an ugly breakup. It has to be. But as it breaks up and you don't have the monies and you don't have the funds, then guess what? No matter how they try to plan for it, no matter how they try to quote unquote have a soft landing, what are they going to do? They're going to lie to everyone, including their own people. They're Americans, and they're going to say that this economy is doing better and better and better while it literally falls off the rails. And they'll lie to you that this economy is great upon great upon great while it falls off the rails, while people are literally starving, while jobs are being lost. That is one of the things that is one of the things that we are working through. How for real? How do you pay our people? How do you pay our people just to even be able to come on over? How do we work and how do we move through this economic collapse? Because you know what's going to end up happening. You're going to have to more than likely get permits just to leave the country. See, we're not understanding that this place is going to start becoming locked down. It's going to start to become a North Korea. How will we pay for tickets? Well, somebody over there is going to have to pay for here. Somebody's going to have to use the visa over there to pay for our ticket to come here. That's what they're going to be saying in places like Burkina Faso and Ghana and other places. Somebody over there is going to have to put in the request at their embassy so they can work. You know, I was on a call a few months ago, and it was interesting that I heard that, but and I kind of saw where they were going with it, and now I truly understand where they were going with it. But they had to package it in a way that didn't create panic, because you know our people. I'm sorry, but our people don't really have a bit of a chill factor. When they panic, they panic. It is. That's how it goes. When we panic, we panic. Uh, uh, uh. Especially if you're in a forum that doesn't know Yahuwah or his son Yahusha HaMashiach. Oh, they panic because then they give way to fear, and when they give way to fear, they can't see anything else except for that immediate danger. And fear is literally just false evidence appearing real. But I I think it's funny though because I had to understand, okay, I liked the concept, I understood the concept, but there was a lot more that needed to be developed. There was a lot more that needed to go through it, and I could see the lack. I was in the meeting and I didn't speak up because the moment that you speak up and things like that and they know your capabilities, that's the moment that they make you that project owner. Mr. Caddis, you have a good suggestion, Mr. Caddis. Why don't you? Yeah, that would be the yeah. I already saw that coming. I've had a couple of interactions. But I know when the Most High tells me to shut up, because why? Because there's certain things and in certain groups and in certain places, even talking here, I know I can't say everything on YouTube. Get out of here. Not on this platform, not on this channel. The name of the game is to try to position ourselves for critical infrastructure and economic development so then there is a future that is viable. Well, why can't you tell us? Why can't? Okay, all right, Agent Smith. Why can't I tell you? Become a volunteer with Q2UA. Let us know who you are. Sign the NDA. Come on board. I truly have to say that this time is amazing because these Western powers, they're going to clash. And once they clash, think about this. Once they clash, people are like, oh, well, what Trump did was genius. He revalued the dollar with gold. He's going to revalue the dollar with gold. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. Except if you're holding tons of dollars, thinking that it's more valuable than gold, then what do you think happens to the dollar? Especially if it's pegged at three, and in their case, they're trying to talk about $40,000 per ounce. What do you think happens to the dollar? The dollar becomes literally worthless. Why do you think they're doing digital currencies? Because why? You peg it to the same valuation rate within the United States. Oh, well, due to what is happening aboard and abroad, you're not going to be able to conduct any type of financing and finances or financial transactions outside of the continental United States due to security, due to settlement issues. Yeah, they'll call it security. They'll call it settlement issues. Because why? Because the dollar will literally be worthless to other nations. Do you all see the setup coming? I know folks want to hear some feel good messages. Oh, everything is great. Everything's awesome. And the reality is, no, it's not. You're going to have to do some soul searching, as we all do. We all have to do soul searching. We're going to have to come to terms. Nobody's going to be sticking around when people are trying to scramble. You think the eggs were bad. Think about when you have a grocery store that has absolutely nothing. And when they do bring something in, folks are going to be fighting as they're unloading foodstuffs. I had said this a while ago. I was even game planning this back in 2023. because we're gonna need our people. They need to get fed. You don't think that the UN would be coming in or the African Union would be coming in? I'd say absolutely they would. It's not going to be hard to get people to move when everybody's starving. It's a real simple construct. You're not able to eat, you leave. You see one or two of your family members dying because of starvation, you'll leave, especially if you have a corridor to leave. I'm not saying this in hyperbole. I'm saying this because we all see it happening. We all see it coming down the line. So that's what I have for today, family. We're in a better spot than most people. We actually are. And that's the mission of Q2A, critical infrastructure and economic development. We didn't realize how critical that would be at the time that this organization was created. Almost now, well, 23 months ago, almost 2 years now. And look how timely the Most High had that. Very, very timely. Very, very timely. So don't get discouraged. It's all the Most High's timing. So with that said, family, I gotta get up on out of here. Most High willing, I'll be on tomorrow with Covenant Awakenings. You can find me on over there. And thank you, family, for your prayers and your support. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, I'll catch you here on Friday with Q2A discussions. Shalom, family.